is Audible.
And now, part 2 of Falling, written by E.K. Blair, and read by Angelo Carrillo and Piper Goodeve.
Chapter 27. My head is pounding, and I'm tired as hell. Now that she's awake and moving around my loft, I suddenly don't know how to act. I don't know what to say. The realization has flipped a switch for me, and I don't know how to respond, so I stay quiet. I'm in the kitchen, fixing her a cup of coffee when she walks over to me and asks, "Did you not sleep last night?" Screwing on the lid to her mug, I'm evasive when I tell her, "Not much," before handing her the cup and walking into the other room to grab our coats so that I can take her home. I feel like I can't touch her, like I can't be the same with her. I want to scream and punch my fucking fist through the wall. Why did it have to be her? And what piece of shit would do that to her? She's the sweetest thing I've ever known. Handing her the coat, I ask, "You ready?" "Yeah," she says shyly as she keeps her eyes down. She slips it on, and I know that my attitude is making her uncomfortable, so I take her hand in mine as we head outside into the bitter cold. It only takes a couple of minutes to drive to her house, and when I pull up and park the car, she turns to me and says, "I'm sorry about last night, and I get that you're mad, but—" "What?" I interrupt, not understanding what she did that she would need to be sorry for. Why would I be mad? She shakes her head, unsure of herself when she tells me, "Because I keep pushing you away. You've hardly said 2 words to me this morning, so I just figured." Fuck. I've been so wrapped up in myself that I didn't realize I've been a total dick to her this morning. Getting out of the car, I walk over to her side, open her door, and unclick her seatbelt, grabbing onto her hips to face me. I don't know what I'm doing, but seeing the look on her face snaps me out of my fears immediately. I feel like I can't be the same with her, but I have to be. I want to be, because I love what we are together. I'm firm when I declare, "Everything you give me is perfect. You have to stop feeling like this. I'm here with you, and I'm not going anywhere." Needing her to believe me, I don't hesitate when I take her lips with mine. It bothers me that she doubts herself so much with me. My thoughts are all over the map, but one thing is certain. As hard as this is, I know I can't let it change us. I can't allow it to filter in and affect me because I can't give her any reason to doubt that I love her from the purest part of me there is. When I break our kiss, I softly tell her, "I'm sorry I've been a dick. I just didn't get much sleep." "It's okay. I overreacted." But she isn't overreacting because her observations are astute, and this is my fault. Taking her hand, I help her out of the car and shut the door, leaning her back against it when I take her face in my hands and look into her eyes, trying to connect in a way so that there is no doubt within her when I tell her, "I never thought I needed anything in this life until I met you. Everything you give me is exactly what I always needed, and you do it perfectly." I don't give her a chance to respond when I pull her into me, pressing my lips into hers. Her hands around my back are firm as she holds me close, and I wish she didn't have to go to school, because I want to keep her wrapped up in me like this all day. We say goodbye, and when she's inside, I start driving to work. When I pull into the lot and park, my phone buzzes with a text from Candace. "Can I stay with you?" I've never been so sure of anything when I type out my response. "Of course, babe." I don't know what happened in the past 10 minutes since I dropped her off, but if she needs me, she has me. Sitting in my Jeep, I go ahead and call her so that I can make sure everything is right. "Hey," she answers apprehensively. "Did something happen?" "I'm sorry. I don't want to impose, but She trails off when I assure her, "You're nothing close to an imposition, babe. Kimber's here, and it's not good. I just think I should give her some space." The comfort of knowing that she ran to me and not Jace shows me that she's in this, and I love her even more for that. "When do you get out of class?" "I'm going straight to work after I get out of school, so I won't be home till a little after 7 tonight." "I'll meet you at your place and help you get a couple bags together, okay?" I hear her release a sigh before she says, "Thank you, Ryan. Really?" We hang up, and when I get out of the car, I can't help myself when I turn to the back of the alley. I walk over towards the dumpster and can see that son of a bitch on top of her again, shoving his hands between her legs, slamming his fists into the side of her head. The images unleash a rage inside of me when I think about what happened to her, and the guilt that I was right fucking here and didn't protect her from it. Questions storm inside. Is she a different person now because of it? What did she go through after it happened? What is she going through now? I know she has to be masking the pain because I'm pretty certain that I know what it is that's constantly causing all of her restless sleep at night. Is that what she dreams about? Fuck. Is that the shit that fills her head when she's in bed with me? Raking my hands through my hair, I drop my head and spot a small crate of empty bottles. When I can no longer stand the rapid banging of my heart against my chest, I fume as I pick up the whole crate, smashing it violently against the side of the dumpster. Screams grit through my lungs, and the explosion of glass shattering echoes in the quiet morning air. "What the hell are you doing?" Max yells out from behind me, but I keep my eyes on the shards of glass that are scattered on the ground, the same ground where some fucker... "Ryan, man," Max says and knocks me out of my thoughts when I turn to face him, and the anger inside of me is blatant. It's a force that I can't push down when I yell, "It was her!" "What are you talking about?" he questions as he moves closer to me, glass crunching under his boots with each step. "The girl that was raped. It's her." He shakes his head, not piecing it together while my muscles tense up in frustration with everything. "It's Candace." I breathe out because the constricting of my throat makes it painful to speak. His face drops, stunned when he asks, "How do you know?" "Because that girl, she has the same tattoo that I saw on Candace last fucking night." Those last words seethe out of me as I pick up a bottle from another crate and barrel it into the dumpster, creating another spray of glass after it smashes into a splattering of pieces. My breathing is heavy as I press my palms to my forehead and admit, barely holding myself together, I don't want it to be her, man. I can barely choke out the words, but I had to hold my shit together quietly last night, and now it bleeds out. "Fuck," I hear him mumble before he asks, "What did she say?" Looking up at him, I tell him, "She doesn't know. I couldn't tell her." When I see the way he's looking at me, like I'm an idiot for not telling her, I shout at him, pleading, "What would I fucking say, Max? What should I have said to her?" I paused, catching my breath before I continue in a calmer tone. "I love her," I tell him with a defeated shrug of my shoulders. "I can't hurt her like that." "Has she even told you that she was..." you know? No, I respond. I don't think she ever intends to either. I start walking away, not wanting to talk about this shit anymore, and when I pass him, I stop and look over at him. We're never gonna mention this again. Got it? Yeah, man, he whispers to me. Got it? I'm not talking about this shit with anyone. Max knows, and that's where it stays. It won't come up again. I won't talk about her like that. Whatever happens, it's private and stays between Candace and me. Candace's roommate wasn't home when I went over to help her get a few bags packed. Most of her belongings were all ready to go by the time I got there, so it didn't take us too long before we left, which was good because she was really upset about the whole thing. We spent a while moving things around in my room to make space for her. She didn't want to go through the hassle, but I wanted to make sure that she was comfortable and that all her things had a place in my home. She didn't say how long she was staying, and I told her to play it by ear. I'm just happy that I don't have to say goodbye to her at night anymore. That she will be here every day with me. Getting into bed, I sit back against the headboard and watch her as she ties her hair up on top of her head. Come over here, I tell her as I wrap my arms around her. She slips her arm around my waist as we lie here. It feels good to have her close after the shit day I've had. She's always had this effect on me, and I've never needed it more than I do now. When I kiss the top of her head, she runs her fingers along my scar, asking, How did you get this? My dad. Sorry, she says as she looks up at me. Why? Because I don't want to bring it up if you are uncomfortable talking about it. Babe, I'd tell you anything. She keeps her eyes on me when I open up to her and show her the side of me that no one else gets to see. I came home from a party one night and walked in on my father beating the shit out of my mom in our kitchen. He smashed a coffee mug into the back of her head, and I lost it. I started wailing on him. Eventually, he managed to get his hands on a butcher's knife. Oh my God, she whispers. I know it can't be easy to hear, but I give her this, knowing that I hold what is probably her darkest secret. That's the night he died. He left, and my mom called 911, so we were taken to the hospital by ambulance. The next morning, we were back home and 2 cops showed up at the front door to tell me about the car crash. I don't know what to say, she quietly admits. Running my fingers up and down her arm, I tell her, There's really nothing to say. I hated him. He had beaten the shit out of me my whole life. He didn't even need a reason. Sometimes he would just come home from work and knock me around for the hell of it. But why? She asks, and when she looks up at me, her eyes are rimmed with tears. I don't know, I admit. But I do know that he couldn't stand me. He hated me just as much as I hated him. What could anyone possibly hate about you? Her words are sweet, and I lean down to give her lips a quick kiss before she continues. So, nobody knew? I shake my head. How did you deal with all of that alone? Vices. In high school, I used to do a lot of drugs, but I stopped shortly after my dad died. I felt like what happened to my mom that night was my fault. I was wasted and passed out at a party when I should have been at home with her. That wasn't your fault, though, she tells me. I know that now. But it got me to give up popping so many pills. In turn, I just traded one vice for another. I was searching for a way to numb myself. I'd been doing it since I was a little kid, and by the time he was dead, it was all I knew to do. So I kept looking for ways to escape. I can see that, she responds. The need to hide. I shift us down so that we're lying on our sides. She hides behind her dance and school. She busies herself when there isn't anything to really keep her busy. She's an overachiever, but I don't point out her vice. Instead, I reveal, I don't want to hide from you, though. You're the only one I can say that about. She runs her hand along my cheek when I go on. I've always been scared to connect with women. Why? Giving her my fear, I let it all out there. Because I'm afraid I'll wind up just like him. Keeping her hand on my face, she whispers softly, That won't happen. How can you be so sure? Because you're the kindest person I know. Because you've never put yourself before me. You're a genuine guy, Ryan. You're probably the only woman who would say that about me. But how well do they know you? They didn't. Nobody does, except you. Can I ask you something? She says coyly. Anything. Closing her eyes, she lets out a slow breath and then asks, If you never wanted to connect with those girls, then why sleep with them? Because they offered me an escape. If even for a few minutes, it was my way of disconnecting. Tucking a loose piece of her hair behind her ear, I lean my forehead against hers and tell her, I was too scared to feel because I hadn't ever done that before. I don't know what it's like to care more about someone other than myself. But why me? She breathes. You've always intrigued me. You aren't like any girl I've ever known. Without even trying, you get me thinking about myself and what I want out of life. You're everything I never thought I wanted, but when I met you, you were everything I needed. She rests her hand on my jaw and slowly runs her thumb along my lips when she says, Somehow, you make up for everything I was missing before you. I have a hard time opening up to people. I know that. But I don't want you to doubt that you have me, because you do. I know she struggles, and I'm still waiting for the day she will drop that wall with me to feel safe enough to tell me she loves me. But this lets me know that she's trying. God, you are so much more than I deserve. I breathe against her mouth before I kiss her. I take what I learned last night and refuse to let it stand in the way of what we have together. I'm not going to beat myself up because I want to touch her, because I know that each touch I want is because I love her, and that's the only reason. I simply love her. Chapter 28. What are you doing? I ask when I walk through the front door and see Candace bent over in my kitchen, wrapping her thighs in saran wrap. Peeking her head up, she tells me, helping my muscles recover? As if this image isn't anything out of the realm of normal. I start laughing at her while she continues to wrap her legs. Explain this to me because I'm dying to know. She rips the plastic from the roll and sets it on the counter before defending, I swear it works. I've been doing it for years. Wrapping yourself up like leftovers? I tease. No, she drags out. You see, I use Tiger Balm, she says as she hands me a tiny brown jar that can't hold any more than an ounce. Then, I seal it in with plastic wrap. It traps in the vapors, which allows for maximum absorption, bringing much more relief to my muscles. Setting the jar down, I say, Are you not worried about a chemical burn or some shit like that? It's never happened before, she says as she walks out of the kitchen and into the living room. Watching her, I laugh at the image and the sound. Candace This is some crazy shit to do, you know that, right? She takes a seat on the couch as I move to join her. Yes, I know, but I swear it helps. Look, I have my audition in 2 days, and I'm freaking out because I keep getting these cramps in my legs. I've upped my calcium and potassium, but it's still bothering me. Give me your legs, I tell her, and she shifts to lie on her back, kicking her feet onto my lap. What are you doing? She asks when I turn to the side to face her. I'm gonna give your calves a solid rub down. She smiles as I start to knead my fingers into her muscles. I can't get enough of her legs. Even wrapped up like she has them, they are solid and sexy, and I take my time, thoroughly enjoying myself as I give her calves a deep massage. She closes her eyes and relaxes while I make good use of the next 30 minutes. When I'm done, I take her up to my bathroom where she begins to unwrap her legs. God, that shit stinks, I complain as she wads up the wrap and tosses it to me. Be nice, she scolds playfully. I'm gonna take a quick shower. I'll come to bed in a few minutes. Okay, I say when I lean down to peck her lips before I leave and close the door behind me. I run downstairs to plug my cell into its charger in my office before locking up. Candace has her dance bag by the front door with her toe shoes lying on top of a towel. Walking over, I kneel down and run my fingers over the dirty, torn pink satin. You can see the burn marks on the ribbons, where I can tell she has used a lighter to stop them from fraying. It's ironic how these shoes mirror Candace, on the verge of falling apart, barely holding together, yet they do. She's strong enough, though she's breaking. I don't see her doing anything to heal. She's hiding and masking what I know is eating away at her. And these shoes, as worn as they are, they're still strong and beautiful. Turning off the lights, I head back upstairs and lie down. When Candace is done drying her hair, she crawls in next to me, and I curl myself around her. We don't talk as we both drift off to sleep. When I stir awake, I'm alone in bed. Sitting up, I lean over to her nightstand to check the time on her phone. It's after 2 a.m. I roll out of bed and walk out to the top of the stairs and see her. She's downstairs, sitting on the couch in the dark, watching the rain fall. The past couple nights since she's been staying here, she hasn't slept well. I haven't said anything to her, but she spends most of her nights in a fit of restless sleep, keeping me awake while I hold her and just watch. Quietly, I walk down the stairs and across the room. As I round the couch, I see her wrapped up in a blanket, and she's crying. My heart is so heavy, and I don't know what to do. All I want is to take it all away, but I don't know how to do that. She senses me and turns to look. I see it all over her face, the pain. She's so tired. Without any words spoken, I sit down next to her and wipe the tears that stain her cheeks. I can't sleep, she whispers to me. I look over her face, searching for words, but my own sadness wells up inside of my chest, and I can see the pleading in her eyes. She doesn't want me to question why she's crying, so I don't. I already know. Pulling her closer to me, I hold on to her as she draws her legs up to her chest, cuddling into me. She turns her head and continues to watch the rain while I sit here in a painful silence. All that fills my head is the sound of her shrieking cries from that night, and I do everything I can to keep my emotions intact. Eventually, she dozes off, and I scoop her up, carrying her back to bed. I've been sitting here, anxiously waiting for Candace to get back. She left a couple hours ago for her audition at Meany Theater. I wanted to go with her, but she made me stay, saying that she didn't want anything to distract her. I wouldn't have been able to go into the theater to watch, but I wanted to at least be there to support her. But I understand. She was a jittery mess all morning, and I did what I could to relax her, but she was too distracted to focus on anything, including me. Her determination and the neurotic behavior that comes along with it makes me smile. She even broke out the saran wrap again when she woke up. As soon as I hear the front door open, I walk out of my office to see Candace running down the hall. She jumps into my arms, wrapping her legs around my waist, and I've never seen a more perfect smile. She's elated, and her joy is infectious, making me laugh, saying, "I take it you kicked ass?" "I totally kicked ass! It was amazing!" Her legs are clutched so tightly around me that I don't even have to hold on to her, so I take my hands from her hips, move them to her face, and kiss her smile. She crashes her mouth with mine, enthusiasm controlling her. Taking her, I press her back up against the hallway wall, and before I can go in deeper with our kiss, she pulls away and starts laughing, telling me about her audition. She spews out a bunch of French ballet shit, and I have no clue what she's talking about, but she's excited and happy, and that's all I need to know. My smile is big as I stand here and watch her. "I'm so proud of you, babe. I wish I could have seen you." "I know, I'm sorry," she says as she combs her fingers through my hair. "Auditions are always closed." "When will you find out?" "March 1st. Next week? Yeah, Friday," she answers excitedly before pulling my head back to hers to kiss me. But I've got something to tell her as well. Mumbling over her mouth, I say, "I've got news too." Not willing to take her lips from mine, she mutters, "What's that?" "Think Space Gallery called." Her head pops back. "And?" "They accepted your photo." "Your photo! No, your photo, babe." She smiles. She knows that picture's all her, and I refuse to take the credit for it. "Congratulations," she tells me, and I slow her down, wanting to really feel her against me. I kiss her softly, gently sucking on her bottom lip as I graze my tongue along it. She tangles her hands in my hair when I band my arms around her. We move like this, taking our time, and when she pulls back, she peers into my eyes. There's a look in her eyes that I can't peg, so I ask, "What is it, babe?" She takes her hand and runs it slowly down the side of my face, and I see the wall crumbling. "I love you." Every part of me awakens, and I've never felt so alive. I didn't think I needed to hear those words as much as I did, but the trust that comes with them was what I craved the most. You'll never know what those words just did to me. I tell her, and then carry her over to the couch so that I can show her, in our own way, how much I love her. I lie on top of her, and she begins to lift up my shirt, so I reach over my head and pull it off. Sliding my hand down her leg, I lift it and wrap it around my hip. "I'm sorry you had to wait so long," she breathes. "Don't be," I tell her. "You don't even know how much you have already given me. When I met you, I found me." She smiles, saying again, "I love you." "I love you too, babe." We move slowly and spend the next hour making out the way we tend to do. I want more with her. I'll always want more. But for now, I enjoy taking my time with her and savor every piece as she gives it to me. "Ryan?" Her soft voice pulls me up from my sleep as I roll over and drape my arm around her from behind. "Yeah, babe," I whisper with my eyes still closed, but she doesn't answer, so I let myself begin to drift back to sleep. "Ryan?" She calls my name louder, almost panicky, and when I open my eyes to look at her, she's still sleeping. I watch her for a second, and then she screams, "Ryan!" as she flips onto her back, her hands clenched into fists. "Baby, wake up," I say as I hover over her, scared to touch her. She begins trembling, pleading in a strained voice, "Please, not again." Fuck. Knowing exactly what her dream is, I panic. "Candace, babe, wake up." "Get off of me," she yells, frantically kicking her legs. Quickly straddling them, I grip her upper arms as she thrashes herself against my hold. "Get the fuck off of me," she shrieks, and when she opens her eyes, tears fall freely down the sides of her face. She looks at me, but there's nothing there. No focus. Her eyes are completely glazed over, scaring the shit out of me. "God, please stop." "Candace, wake up!" I bark at her, desperate for her to snap out of her nightmare. She's in a frenzy, screaming hysterically, crying. I let go of her, and when I do, she desperately shuffles back and away from me, falling off the bed and hard onto her hip. I hop off the bed and kneel down in front of her as she's huddled in a ball against the wall, sobbing. "Don't fucking touch me," she screams when I hold her shoulders with my hands, but I don't take them off of her. "Candace, open your eyes," I beg as she covers her face with her hands. She's so loud and my mind is overwhelmed with anxiety. Her breathing is rapid and she's terrified, but I need her to know she's safe. "Candace, please, look at me. It's only me here with you." I take her wrists to move her hands from my face, and she turns her head to the wall as she cries. "Babe, please don't hide from me." She struggles to breathe through her tears, and when she begins to gasp, I tug her between my legs, and her body gives in, falling limp into my arms. I hold her tight, tighter than I ever have held anyone. She has to get this secret out of her. It's agonizing to see how this is tormenting her. I just need her to get it out. I rub her back while she has her head tucked into my chest. She's no longer screaming, but the crying continues. I don't want her to hide from me, so I tell her, "You have to look at me, please." With my hands, I move her head up to face me. She opens her eyes, and I hate the fear and embarrassment I see in them. "You okay?" She simply nods. What happened? Lowering her head, she takes a couple deep breaths before answering. "Can you please call Jace?" What? I hate this shit. That she would run to him in a heartbeat like I don't exist? Like I'm not enough for her, but he is? Shit. Candace, no, I tell her, refusing to allow her to run from me. She told me she loves me. I just need her to trust me enough to be here for her. Please? She begins to cry again. Candace, no, you can't always run to him. Need me for a change, I beg. Talk to me. I can't. Yes, you can, I urge. God, just talk to me. Tell me. Get this out of you so that you can start dealing with it. No, I can't, please, I just can't. She strained through her sobs. But you can with Jace? I question in disbelief. I thought we were past this. I want you to need me, I plead, tightening my hold around her. I feel desperate. I do. You don't, I say. You cling to him for everything. Look at me, I demand, and then hold her hands, pressing them hard against my chest, and beg. Cling to me. Love me enough to need me. I can't. Why? Because you'd leave me. Not happening, babe. Ryan, please. I'm not leaving you, I assure her. She can tell me this. I know she can, and I need her to. Nothing you could say would make me want to leave you. I'm just too fucked up. Her face is covered in tears that I just want to kiss away. I want to take all of her pain away. But I resist the urge to give in to her. So I keep encouraging, knowing that I'm guiding her to a painful place. We're all fucked up, I tell her. I want you to let me in. Her body is shuddering as the sobs rack her. I'm powerless, and it fucking sucks. I can't. You'll never look at me the same. You'll run away. She says this, and I want to cry for her. Take her pain and shove it deep inside of me. I'd take her misery as my own in a second. Wrapping my hand behind her head, I hold it close to my heart when I vow. I promise you, nothing will change the way I look at you. Nothing will change what you do to me when you're next to me. You make my heart beat in a completely different way. Nothing will ever change that. I'm so embarrassed. She cries into my chest as she slips her arms around me, clinging to me like she's about to fall. Maybe she is, but I need her to. God, babe, I'm fighting my own tears so hard. Please don't be. I strengthen my hold on her, and when I do, she falters with a whimper when she releases it. I was raped. Those words. I already knew it. I even saw her body afterwards. But hearing those words, I can't take the pain and guilt any longer. It's like a knife to my lungs, and I can barely breathe. I take a hard breath in when the tears slip out and fall. I'm helpless. I don't know what to say to her, but I knew that she had to tell me, to stop hiding it away. But what have I done to her? She's broken in my arms right now, sobbing, and I don't know what to do to help. We sit, clinging to one another as we both cry. Time passes and she begins to tire, now softly weeping as I continue rocking her and planting kisses on top of her head. I've been lying to you, she mutters quietly. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I feel horrible. Candace, don't do this, I tell her. You have every right to lie. I can't go to see you at work because... Shh. I want her to stop because she doesn't need to apologize for shit. She shouldn't feel bad for trying to cover this up. I get it. Understand it. Because it happened in your parking lot, by the dumpster, she tells me. And I figure she simply needs to get it off her chest, so I don't say anything. I just listen as she relieves herself of whatever guilt is weighing on her as she continues. That's why I freaked out. I didn't know where I was until I saw the dumpster. Hearing her say this to me is hard. It hurts to think about her trying so hard to hide this from me and what that was doing to her. My breath catches, and then a small noise cracks. She pulls back to see my tears falling. Her face scrunches up as she begins to cry again. I'm so sorry, she chokes out, and I've had enough of her apologizing for shit that doesn't matter. Don't ever fucking say that again, I tell her when I cradle her cheeks in my hand. Don't ever be sorry for anything again. I'm just so far from what you thought. You're not. I am. Every day is a struggle. Everything. I'm scared every day, she admits as she drops her head from my hands. I've always wanted to know what she was hiding, but I couldn't have imagined this. and that she lives with this every day? Terrified? The fact that she has held herself together around me so well is shocking. Candace finally looks back up at me, pained when she tells me, "I'm fading." I shake my head at her, hardly able to stand the misery in her voice. "He took all my light, and I've been fading ever since." Giving her nothing but the core of my intentions, I tell her, "You're not fading. I won't let you." Her words beat at me in disbelief because she's brought so much to my life in such a short amount of time. The mere idea that she would see her life in such shambles that she would fear fading ignites a fight in me to do everything I can to pull her out of this darkness, to show her just how bright she is, how amazing and powerful she is. She's nothing but heart, and I'm going to make sure she sees every bit of it, that there's no way for her to fade in my eyes. She tucks her head down and leans into me as I fold her securely in my arms, vowing to myself that I will do everything I can to show this girl how strong she really is. "That's why Kimber is mad," she says as she continues to talk. "I didn't go home after it happened. I stayed with Jace and never told her why. She knows I'm lying." I listen. That's all she wants from me, so that's what I give her. "I've been taking sleeping pills, but I stopped last week. That's why I haven't been sleeping." She pauses before revealing. "I dream about that night, about him. All I see are his eyes. He made me watch him." A new bout of sobs courses through her, and anger courses through me. But I keep my cool for her. I take myself out of this and focus on her when she adds, "So, I take pills to keep him away." "Babe, why did you stop taking them?" "Because every night when I take them, it's only a reminder of what happened. I just want to forget, but I can't." "Have you told anyone?" I ask as I brush her hair behind her shoulder. "No, only Jace and Mark. Jace was with me in the hospital. Mark only knows because he walked in and saw my face. I was pretty banged up." "Your parents?" "God, no. It was because of them that I went out with this guy at all." "You knew him?" I ask, not expecting that she knew the fucker. "But you didn't do anything?" "No." "I want to fucking kill him." I spill out, anger swelling inside of me. I swear to God, I'm gonna kill that piece of shit. My body tenses up, and I do everything I can to bring myself back down for her. It takes a while, but I begin to focus on Candace and what she needs out of me. I know she's afraid I'm gonna run, but she's wrong. Looking at her straight on, I assure her, "This changes nothing for me, okay? Nothing. No one will ever love you like I do." I kiss her. I feel it's all I can do right now to show her that I'm here and I'm not leaving her. When I do finally drag my lips away, I give her more of me when I say, "You are the only reason there's light in my life. Before you, there was nothing but darkness." As the tears linger on her cheeks, I lean in and kiss them, tasting the salt of her secret that's been eating her up. But now it's out there, and she doesn't have to find ways to hide from me anymore. She trusts me enough to allow me to see the darkest side of her, and I love her for that. Chapter 29. I didn't want to leave Candace the day following her nightmare. I felt like being close to her, But she told me that it would have made her feel uncomfortable if I canceled work to stay with her, and even though I didn't like it, I understood it. She's afraid things have changed between us, and just because I assured her that they haven't, I need to show her. So I went into work, and she went to Jace's, where she managed to drink way too much wine, and for the first time in her life, got wasted. Candace is still sleeping when I finish my shower and get dressed. Bringing her home last night was an adventure. She's gonna feel like shit when she wakes up today, but seeing her drunk was about the cutest thing I've ever seen. I woke up in the middle of the night to find her fighting sleep. She said she was scared of having another nightmare, and it was tearing me up inside. So I stayed up and talked to her so that she could fall asleep. After she was out, I found myself wanting to stay awake to watch her, make sure she slept peacefully. Her nightmare scared the crap out of me, so I can't imagine how scary it was for her. The past few weeks have drained me emotionally, so while she sleeps, I decide to head up to the bar before anyone gets there to get a little space from everything. I write Candace a note before I leave, letting her know where I went and to call when she gets up. Walking into Blur, I leave the front door unlocked while I busy myself filling bottles behind the bar. I spend a good amount of time staying occupied, but my mind is elsewhere. It's in that alley, and my stomach won't seem to unknot itself to buy me any relief. I grab a bottle of scotch and take a seat at the bar, filling my glass. I don't take a sip. I just sit and stare at the burnished liquid. It's placid, and I get lost as I zone out in the glass. I'm so deep in my head that I don't even hear the door open. But when someone takes a seat next to me, I turn to see Jace. His expression tells me that he knows I know. Candace must have told him last night. I focus back on my glass that's still sitting on the bar, cradled in my hands. "I'm sorry," he says. I can barely move my head up and down to acknowledge his words that take me out of my daze and bring me back to the mass of emotions. Without looking at him, I talk. I always knew she was hiding something. I know. She has these moments in her sleep, almost nightly. "It's a lot better now," he says, and I turn to look at him. "Better?" He nods, and I ask, because I want to know. "How bad was she?" His head drops to the side, not wanting to tell me when I ask again. "How bad?" "Don't do this." "How bad?" He takes a pause before he tells me. "Bad." It was like suddenly the Candace I had always known was gone. I turn back to my glass and take a drink before setting it back down, relishing the burn in my chest. Warmth. So she was different, I ask, wondering what she would have been like if only I'd met her before that night. "Yeah, but like I said, she's better." "Better?" I repeat, not knowing what else to say, trying hard to keep the pain at bay. "How?" "She used to have these hallucinations. It freaked me out. They were intense, and I'd always find her vomiting in my bathroom." His words punch me in the gut. Thinking about her like this is almost too much, and I feel the tears return, but I fight to hold them back. She said she knew him. My words crack as they find their way out past the lump in my throat. "Yeah." I turn back to him and ask, "You knew him too?" Shaking his head, he tells me, "I met him once." "Who is he?" He releases a hard sigh when I press, "Who is he?" He still doesn't respond when I question, "Did you ever do anything?" "I wanted to. I still do." His breathing staggers as his eyes redden and gloss over. "But I can't. Candace made me promise, and I just can't break that promise. It would hurt her too much. Why didn't she do anything? She was scared, embarrassed. I tried talking to her, but she'd rather bury it. So that's what she did. I shake my head, and when I do, he speaks up. Look, man, I want to kill that bastard. I do. I saw what he did to her, and he fucked her up. Bad. But I love her. And as much as I hate that all she wants to do is hide this shit, I don't fight it, because I don't want to hurt her. I watch his tears fall as he adds, I know what you two have is completely different than what I have with her. But she's my fucking heart, man. I hate her choices, but I also know how fragile she is right now, so I let it be. Right or wrong, I just give her what she wants. I can't speak even if I wanted to, because the pain in my chest is nearly unbearable at this point. All I can do is give him a nod, and I know he sees the emotion on my face. How could a person hide it? He stands up and grips my shoulder, saying, I couldn't deal with this shit if it weren't for Mark. If you ever need to talk. Yeah, thanks. I respond on a breath before he turns to walk out the door. When he's out of my vision, I drop my head in my hands and let it out. It's a haze of unrecognizable emotions beating through me. To look past this and let her continue to sit and do nothing is something that I don't think I'm capable of. But Jace is right. My girl is so damn fragile, even though she's so damn strong. It's a paradox that's hard to deal with. She's gonna break, one way or another. Irritation boils inside, and the longer I sit here, it starts to eat away at me until it takes over, and I stand up, kicking over the stool, screaming and smashing my glass against the brick wall behind the bar, followed next by the bottle. The blast of the glass shattering and sprinkling to the floor is all I hear through the ringing in my head. I grab my keys, leave the mess, and head to my Jeep. I drive, making my way back to my loft and upstairs to find Candace standing in my closet, slipping on a sweater. Why didn't you do anything? I ask, unable to control my frustration. She turns to look at me, confused, when she asks, What are you talking about? Don't make me say it. Brian, please, don't, she says, and then walks past me to sit on the edge of the bed. Who is he? I press, emotions getting the best of me. She keeps her chin tucked down, avoiding. Candace, tell me his fucking name. I belt out because sitting around and not doing shit isn't gonna work for me. Please don't do this, she chokes out as she begins to cry. Why aren't you more pissed? I am. You're not, I tell her as I stand in front of her. I don't see it. She doesn't respond, and I plead with her, needing to make sense of all of this. Tell me why I don't see it. Make me understand, because this shit is killing me. Because I don't know how to show it. She weeps as she looks up at me. My heart is hammering hard in my chest. She's so locked up, and I don't know how to help her. I need you to show it. I need to see it. I tell her as I kneel down in front of her, gripping her legs. Don't. I want to see you fighting. I want to see you doing something, since you won't let me do shit. Why? For what? For you, Candace. It's for you, I say in a hard voice. Show me that you're mad because my anger is beyond what I think I can handle right now. Her breathing picks up as she cries harder. Show me. I push. I can't. You can. Use me, I urge. Yell at me. Scream. Hit me. Punch me. Something. Just do something, I shout as she sobs. Stop crying and do something. Hit me. Ryan, stop. she screams, and when she tries to move away from me, I grab onto her wrists, and she kneels down next to me, bracing her hands on the floor as she cries. I want you to fight. I want you to fight because I'm so fucking mad, and you won't let me fight for you. You want to fight? I stand in the doorway and listen to my dad. Come here, he says to my mom with a crooked finger, and she steps toward him. Hit me. No. Hit me, you little bitch. She stands there crying when he pulls his clenched fist back and punches her in the stomach, forcing out a gush of air as she heaves and doubles over. Daddy, stop! He looks at me. You want me to stop? He asks before impaling her ribs with his boot. Her screams are strained as I start to cry. Stop! He kicks her again as she lies there, lifeless. Tell me to stop again, you sack of shit. I look at Candace, doubled over on the floor, crying, and it hits me. God, baby, I'm sorry, I say, reaching out to touch her, but she coils back from me. It wouldn't even do anything, she snaps. You want me to fight? Why? It's not going to change anything. It's not going to make it better. It's not going to take it away. Realizing that I pushed her way too far, that I scared her by yelling at her, I reach out, and again, she resists my touch. I'm sorry. She doesn't hear me. She just continues. I just want to forget. I just want it to go away. But me fighting isn't going to make that happen. The damage is done, and I can't go back. Baby, I say as gently as I can. You can't pretend it didn't happen. Why not? Her voice a mere whimper, so desperate. What's so bad about pretending? This time, when I reach for her, she doesn't flinch, and I fold her up in my arms. Because it did happen. Why? She cries into my chest. Tell me why this happened. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? There are no answers as she completely breaks and continues crying, collapsed in my lap. I feel like absolute shit for pushing her to this point, and all my fears are brought back to the forefront. I can't deny for 1 second that I don't resemble my father in frightening ways. That I could be so selfish to be screaming at my girlfriend as she's crumpled on the floor crying. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me, but I can't do that shit to her. Fuck. Why did I just do that to her? I'm so sorry. I'm desperate as my voice cracks. She grips her arms around me while I rest my cheek on top of her head. I can't believe I let my anger take control of me. Just knowing the thoughts of what I would do to that guy if I ever saw him scares the shit out of me. I can't let this happen again with her. I just can't, because I know myself well enough to know that I'll never walk away from her. So I have to get my shit under control. I rub her back until eventually she quiets down, taking in hiccups of breaths. She has the sleeves of my t-shirt fisted in her hands, and when she lifts her head up, she keeps her eyes closed. I kiss her forehead, and she presses her weight into my lips. She's exhausted. Hey, I say lightly, and when she hums in response, I encourage, can you look at me? She does, and when I see how red her eyes are, I feel disgusted with myself. I'm so sorry. I should have never raised my voice like that. I just felt so helpless. But how I feel isn't your fault. I don't want you to think that it is. You can say that, but the thing is, it's because of me that you feel this way. I don't know how to respond to her words, but she doesn't give me time when she says, I don't want to lose you. I don't have very many people that, I don't even have a home anymore. When she looks up at me and into my eyes, I tell her, you are home. Am I? Wiping under her eyes with my thumbs, I ask, is that what you want? Nodding her head, she whispers, yes. Then you're home, I give her and wrap her back up in my arms. Candace wound up getting a bad headache and is sleeping again. Not only is she worn out from what happened earlier, but she's also not feeling well after drinking so much with Jace last night. I leave her be as I head down to my office. Despite the shit day, I need to call my mom because in Candace's drunken state last night, she revealed that her birthday is in a few days, and I want to surprise her by having my mom here. They have been talking more and more on the phone, and I know Candace would like to see her. Hell, after this month, it'll be nice to have her here for a few days. Hi, dear, she says when she answers my call. Hey, Mom, I have a favor to ask. Sure, what is it? It's Candace's birthday on Thursday, and I was wondering if you can manage to get away for a few days and come stay here with us? I ask. This Thursday? Yeah. Ryan, that's in 5 days. Why didn't you tell me about this sooner? She nags. Because I just found out last night. This was sprung on me too, Mom. Why did she wait so long to tell you? I don't know, but it slipped out last night. I know she'd love to see you, so I was hoping. I'll be there. Thanks. I'm not going to tell her, so if you two talk before then, don't mention anything. I want her to be surprised. Lips are sealed. And no gifts, I remind her. Ryan, I have no problem with it, but I know how she is, so... Fine. No gifts, she says with a faint laugh. How has everything else been? I haven't talked to Candace in a few days. How did her audition go? It seemed to go really well. She was insanely happy afterward. She should know if she got the solo on Friday. That's great. Is she around to talk to? She's sleeping. Oh, okay. Well, tell her to call me when she has time. Yeah, I will. Everything else okay? She asks. And although I've always been open with my mom, I know this thing with Candace will forever remain private, so I simply tell her, Yeah, Mom, everything's great. We continue to chat for a few more minutes before we say goodbye. When I walk upstairs, I see Candace curled into a small ball in the center of my bed. Shrugging off my shirt, I crawl in to take a nap with her. I slide in behind her, and as I pull her into me, she rolls over to face me, eyes still closed. Draping my arm around her, she nuzzles her head in the curve of my neck, and finally, after all the tension of the day, I relax in the warmth of her. Chapter 30. What do you want to do for your birthday, babe? I ask as she stretches before heading to the studio for rehearsals. I always enjoy seeing her like this, poised, hair up tight in a bun, leotard with an old pair of torn, baggy sweats. There's no doubt she was made to dance because she completely looks the part. And that look is doing things to me that I need to get under control. Nothing. I told Jace that the 4 of us could just grab dinner. We do that all the time. She sits on the ground to roll her ankles when she says, Please don't get any ideas. I really don't like doing anything for my birthday. Why? I ask when I sit in front of her and take her leg in my hand to rub out her muscles. My mom would always throw me these over-the-top parties when I was little. Well, she threw them for her and her friends. It was all show with the moms. Everyone trying to one-up the others. It was never what I wanted, and I would spend the whole day upset, but forced to pretend to be their perfect daughter and behave as etiquette told me I should. So let me do something nice for you, I suggest. It makes me uncomfortable. It always has. I'm a year older. I just don't see the big deal in making a fuss over it. Candace. Her only response is a shrug of her shoulders. So tell me then, what was it that you really wanted when you were a kid? I ask when I move to massage her other leg. Her hands rest in her lap, and she sits on the floor and tells me, simple. It sounds trite, but what I really wanted was my friends to come over and play with me. Have a cheap cake from the grocery store instead of the fondant-covered ones my mom would order from the bakery in town. That fondant tastes like crap, you know? She says with her brows raised with exaggeration, and I laugh at her. I don't even know what that is, I admit with a smile. Well, it's gross, and I hated being forced to open all the gifts in front of everyone. I never got toys, but instead little trinkets and things. Like that bouncy ball, she exclaims. I never got stuff like that. So that's why you hate getting presents? It's just awkward for me, so I'd rather not deal with it. I'll call Jace. Why don't we just hang out here? Eat pizza, watch TV, I suggest. She smiles, agreeing. Sounds perfect. She's simple in ways that I like, but for reasons that shouldn't be. I'll give Candace her non-birthday party, but I can't not get her something to make it special, because it is. So I'll find a way to do that for her without making her feel uncomfortable. My girl can be a challenge, but I like that about her. While Candace is busy on campus all day, I head over to Fremont to stop by a couple vintage antique shops. Jace and Candace are always hanging out here, and I know Candace well enough that she doesn't buy most of her things from mass-marketed retail shops. Yeah, she's simple, but she likes nice things. I spend a couple hours roaming around, but nothing catches my eye, so I decide to walk down to Pete's and grab a coffee. When I pass by one of the little shops, the name stops me because Candace came home the other day with some shaving lather for me from here. Stepping into Essenza, the place is filled with fine European perfumes, soaps, clothes, and jewelry. This looks like a place that she would shop. I'm the only one here, and the lady behind the counter steps out and walks over to me, saying, "You look lost," with a friendly smile. That obvious. Her smile is warm, and even though she screams elegance, she's quite relaxed when she offers me a glass of wine. I'm good. So, what are we shopping for? A girl. I know she's been here before, so I thought I would stop in, I tell her. What's her name? Candace. The ballerina? She squeals. I nod my head when she adds, She's been shopping here for years. We're the only boutique in the state that carries the perfume she wears, so she's pretty loyal. Why does that not surprise me? That she would have picked a perfume that was exclusive to one store in the whole state of Washington. I laugh as she joins in. You must be the guy she was shopping for last time. She was in a couple weeks back. I nod and introduce myself. I'm Ryan. I give her a friendly handshake as she says, Well, I'll let you be. Please, I'm Viv. Let me know if I can help you or if you change your mind about the wine. Joking, I ask, Does your boss know you drink on the job? Please. She drawls and winks at me, adding, It's a requirement. I wander over to check out the perfumes, and sure enough, I spot her bottle of Flu. Next to the display, there is an old antique wrought iron table with a locked glass case that serves as the round tabletop. Looking down through the glass, there are a few pieces of handcrafted jewelry, most of them rings. There are a couple hand-stamped pieces with various quotes. I eye one of the necklaces. It's the only one with a flat, rectangular bar at the bottom that connects the thin, delicate chain. I stop looking at the rest of the jewelry when I read the words that couldn't be more true, and I know I have to get this for her, because these words, is exactly how I see her, and how I need her to see herself. Looking up to Viv, who is sipping her wine, I ask, "Can you show me a piece from this case?" She hops up and comes over to unlock the glass, and I show her the one I'm looking at. She pulls it out and hands it to me. "It's perfect," I murmur as I look it over. The stamped letters are rugged and uneven, a contrast to the polished silver bar and fragile chain. "A Midsummer Night's Dream." I look up and she clarifies. "The quote, it's from A Midsummer Night's Dream." I run my thumb over the jagged impression of the words. "And though she be but little, she is fierce." Was this here last time she was in? No. I'll take it. When I hand her the necklace, I follow her over to the counter. "A gift?" she asks. "It's her birthday." "Shall I wrap it?" "No," I say, and when she looks up at me, I add with a smirk, "She hates gifts." She smiles as she takes my credit card. Ryan. She tisks and then swipes my card before handing it back to me. "I like you." "Not gonna lie, Viv, I like you too," I respond with a light chuckle before she hands me the bag. I head out to my car, having one more errand to run, because I'm not quite satisfied yet. When I get home later, I hear Candace in the shower, so I go ahead and stash my purchases. I walk into my closet, shoving them into one of the drawers, and cover them up with a couple sweaters. My camera sits on the tabletop of the drawers, and I grab it, taking it with me as I flop on the bed and wait for Candace to come out. I scroll through the only pictures that are stored, the ones of Candace's back. I click on each one, zooming in on the preview screen to get a closer look. The bathroom door opens, and I look up to see her walking out, towel drying her hair, wearing a t-shirt and a pair of my boxers. God, she's hot. "I didn't know you were home," she says as she stands at the foot of the bed. Ignoring her statement, I let her know, "I like it when you wear my underwear." "Stop," she says in a nagging voice as I pop up to my knees. I'm serious. It's hot as shit. When she laughs at me, I hold my hand out to her and pull her on top of the bed with me, twisting around and laying her on her back. Her skin is still damp from the shower, and I weave my fingers into her wet hair as I begin to plant slow kisses down her neck. She smells insanely good, and when I pull back to look down at her, I'm taken by how beautiful she looks right now. Leaning up, I pick up my camera, and as soon as I bring it up to my eye, she covers her face, complaining, "No!" "What?" "You can't just take my picture." I laugh at her. "Don't be shy with me," I tell her, and then sit back on my heels. "Let me see you." She removes her hands from her face, and when she does, I say, "Let me photograph you." Lying there, she doesn't respond one way or the other, so I bring the camera back up to my eye and snap a few quick shots of her. Hair splayed around her face, flushed cheeks, and a soft expression on her face. "Thanks," I say when I'm done capturing her face, and then shift to the side of her, holding the camera back to my face. "What are you doing?" "Giving myself something to work on." I mutter before adding, "Bend your legs up, babe." She does without question, and I use my hand to maneuver them to my liking until they are at the perfect angle. The clicks of the shutter are the only sounds that fill the room as she lies there, watching me intently every time I shift my eyes to hers. I'm glad she's comfortable with this and not so tense like she was the last time we did this. I move to set the camera on the nightstand and then back to her, easing my weight on top of her. She runs her hands along my face, drawing me down to kiss her. We let ourselves get lost in one another, moving in a way that I have only done with her, and when her shirt hits the floor with mine, I drop my head to her chest. Her arms encircle my head as I cover her in my mouth, finding that the feel of her lace bras are a turn-on I never expected. Her skin is soft beneath my hand as I run it down her side and to her leg as I tighten my grip because she feels that damn good. When she grazes her lips up my neck, she sends chills down my arms. Our breaths begin to run deep, and my need for her strengthens as I slide my hand in from her hips, over the waistband of her boxers, and down between her legs, cupping the heat of her. "Stop!" She snaps and jerks my hand away, startling me. "Babe, just don't," she whispers. I accept all of her hesitations, but it still hurts when she rejects my touches. Her eyes are closed when I lie down beside her, pulling her hip over so that she's facing me. "Please look at me," I urge in a hushed voice, and when she does, I go with transparent honesty and say, "I want to touch you." "I know, I see the worry in her eyes and the lines in her forehead. "You can tell me anything, babe. I'll never judge you." She takes her time as I run my hand up her arm and into her hair. When she does speak, it's strained as she confesses, "He's the only one that's ever touched me there." I work hard not to get upset, to stay calm so that I can talk to her about this because we can't keep avoiding it. I know this is the last thing she probably wants to discuss, but it has to be done. I choose my words carefully, telling her, "You know that I would never hurt you." "I know, it isn't that." "Tell me what it is. I need to understand." She tucks her chin down, and when I lift it back up with my fingers, I explain, "I need you to talk to me about this because I need to know." "It's embarrassing," she admits quietly. "There is nothing for you to be embarrassed about, babe. But I'm going to be honest with you. It hurts when you push me away because I don't want you to be scared of me." "I'm not scared of you." "Then what?" After she lets out a slow sigh, she finally reveals, "It makes me feel dirty." My forehead gently falls against hers, and I close my eyes, shaking my head. With my hands on her back, I feel the soft heaves, letting me know she's crying. It infuriates me that he did this to her, that this is how she views intimacy. The last thing I would ever expect or want her to feel when she's with me like this is dirty. Knowing that makes me sick to my stomach. "Listen to me," I say when I pull my head back to look at her. "That guy was a piece of shit. We both know that. He's a sick fuck, and, yeah, what he did and how he touched you was dirty. The disgust is beyond that. But that isn't what this is. That isn't us." I try to explain to her. I pull her in tight, continuing, "I want to touch you and feel you. He made that something ugly for you, and I hate him for that he could take that away from us." "I'm sorry," she cries. "You have nothing to be sorry for," I scold. "He did this, not you. The way I want to touch you is nothing like that. I love you, and I want to touch you like this because it's a way for me to feel close to you, It's a way for me to love you and to make you feel that too. The tears run down the side of her face as she responds, I want to give that to you too. I do. I feel awful that I can't, but I'm trying. I need you to know that I am trying. Wiping her face, I say, I know you are. I see it. I'm not blaming you, but we need to talk about this so that I can understand. I hate this, she confesses, and then buries her head in my chest. I know you do, and if I could do something, I would. I just don't know what that would be. But I love you, even the parts of you that you think are ugly. I love it all. Chapter 31. What the hell is this, Mark? I call out from the kitchen when I open the box with the cake. He's on the couch drinking a beer with Jace and responds nonchalantly. You put me in charge of the cake, so I got her a cake. She's turning 23, man. Yeah, I know. Trust me, she'll like it, he tells me with an exaggerated wink. There are fucking rats in tutus. They're mice, he corrects, as I look back down at the cake that's fit for a 5-year-old. It came with a free Angelina the ballerina ring. He laughs as he holds up his hand to show me the pink plastic ring he's wearing on his pinky. I shake my head and laugh with them as I grab a beer and join them in the living room. You gonna give that to her? He smirks, saying, No way, man. This is mine. We hang out and watch TV for a few minutes until Candace walks through the door. She gives Mark and Jace each a hug and kiss before I call her over and pull her onto my lap. I missed you, I whisper as I run my nose up her cheek and then tease, coffee. She always smells like she's bathed in a latte when she gets off work. I'm gonna take a quick shower. I'll be back, she says as she hops off of my lap. I watch as she goes up the stairs, and as if we had planned it, my phone buzzes with a text from my mom letting me know she's about 15 minutes out. Did Candace find out about her audition yet? Mark asks. Not yet. Should know tomorrow. So what are you guys gonna do this weekend? Jace asks as he takes a sip of his beer. My mom is only able to stay through tomorrow afternoon, so we will probably just lay low. We continue to talk about nothing in particular for a while when the doorbell rings. Hey, Mom, I greet as I open the door. She steps in and gives me a big hug, saying, It's good to see you, dear. Donna? I hear Candace call out from behind me, and when I turn to see her walking down the stairs, the surprised look on her face makes me smile. Candace, Mom says, excited to see her. What are you doing here? She is completely caught off guard, wearing her pajamas with her hair pulled on top of her head as she gives my mom an excited hug. I wasn't going to miss your birthday, but I'm a little disappointed that I had to hear about it from Ryan when you and I talk every week. I step beside Candace, shoot her a wink, and kiss her on the cheek. Sorry, I don't normally do anything for my birthday, but I'm so happy you're here, she says, and then hugs Mom again. I can't believe you drove all this way. It's a few hours, dear, hardly a chore. I watch as my mom takes Candace's hand and walks over to Mark and Jace. Candace introduces them, and I make my way into the kitchen. Mom, what do you want to drink? A glass of wine will be good. Me too, Candace tells me, and I laugh at the memory of her drunk the last time she had wine with Jace. So I just have to tease her, asking, You're not gonna get drunk, slap my ass, and tell me how sexy I am, are you? Ryan! She scolds, completely embarrassed, and shoots a look towards my mom. I laugh at her, knowing that she has nothing to be concerned about when it comes to my mom. She adores Candace, and the two of them have become quite close in the past couple of months. I take a seat on the couch next to Candace as the three of us chat. I wanted to do something more for tonight, but this was probably the best idea. As we spend the evening relaxing and visiting over pizza, wine, and beer, I take in the fact that I have never had this before. At least not here in Seattle. I'm close with my family back home, but never felt that connection here. Until now. Until her. I've always known from the start that Jace, Candace, and Mark were tight, just the three of them. And before I realized it, I'd become a part of that. I've never had friendships and connections like I have with these people. I never wanted to. Even though they are all younger than me. When I saw the level of closeness and trust between the three of them, I saw what I had been missing. Candace made me want that. The connect. The commonality between us was something that was lacking in my previous friendships. For the first time since I moved here, the first time in the past 10 years, I have people that I trust and care about. It's unfortunate when I think about it, but in a way, it's Candace's trauma that has bonded the four of us. I know we all love her in our own unique way, and at the root, there's never been jealousy. Only three men that love this girl. And knowing that she has all of us gives me a level of security that I never expected to feel. So we take this night, and like any family would, we laugh and eat cheap birthday cake straight from the box. Mom helps me clean up in the kitchen while Candace sits on the floor, cuddled into Jace, bantering back and forth with Mark, determined to get that plastic ring from him. I love her. I look at my mom when she says this to me as we load the dishwasher. She's really something special, she adds. Yeah, she is. I agree as I watch her from across the room. We finish up and wipe the counters down, and Candace asks as we walk back in, Hey, you guys want to watch a movie? You all go ahead. I'm going to get some sleep so I'm rested for tomorrow, my mom says. Candace walks over and gives her a hug, saying, Thanks again for coming, Donna. How about we spend a little girl time tomorrow, just the two of us? That sounds perfect. I love being ditched by the women in my life, I tease as I step behind Candace and wrap my arms around her shoulders. I'm sure you can find something to busy yourself with, my mom shoots back at me. Good night, you two. Let me help you get settled in, I offer, when she starts to head back to the guest bedroom. I stand there for a moment with Candace in my arms and then turn her around to face me. Tilting her head back to look up at me, I kiss her before saying, Give me a couple of minutes. When I return, the lights are off, and the three of them have made a pile of pillows and blankets in the middle of the living room with the fireplace going. You guys work fast, I murmur as I lie down next to Candace and tuck her into me. We watch The Breakfast Club, and about halfway through, Jace and Mark call it a night and head out, leaving Candace and I alone for the first time tonight. She rolls over in my arms and weaves her legs with mine. Thank you, she says softly. For? Your mom and the cake? I kiss her nose and she smiles as I say, Anytime. I love you, she says before she kisses me. When our kisses turn into more, I stop and sit up. Come on. I grab her hand and tell her, I want you in my bed, under my sheets, before taking her upstairs. As expected, the girls woke up this morning and went out for breakfast and shopping. I decided to take the time and work on the photos of Candace's legs that I took the other day. I spent most of the morning in my office, working on the computer before going to the gym to grab a quick workout. It's a little after noon by the time they get back. When they walk through the door, their hands are full of shopping bags. "Damn, that was a long breakfast," I joke as I help them with their bags. "Sorry, time got away from us. If I didn't have to go home, I would have spent the whole day with her," my mom says. "Well, thanks for bringing her back. I'm sick of sharing her," I tease as I wrap my arm around Candace. Nudging me in the gut, she playfully scolds, "Ryan." "Sorry, babe, but it's the truth," I remark and then go in for a nibble on her neck. "Okay, kids, I've seen enough. I'm going to pack," my mom says, heading down the hall. "Ryan, that tickles," she laughs, trying to squirm out of my arms. Picking her up, I haul her over to the couch, where I lay her down and start planting soft kisses on her. "Did you have a good time this morning?" I ask between my nips, and then lick the hollow of her neck. "Uh-huh." I continue to kiss her like this until she says, "Ryan, we should stop." "Why?" "Because your mom is about to leave, and you should go spend a little time with her before she goes." Not wanting to stop, I let out a groan and tell her, "Okay, but I'm not done with you." Candace takes her shopping bags and goes upstairs while I check in with my mom. "Did you two have fun?" I ask, sitting on the edge of the bed as she gets her things together to leave. "We did. She took me over to the coffee shop where she works." "What did you guys talk about?" "You're nosy," she quips, and I laugh at her, but she quickly straightens her face and comes to sit next to me on the bed. "She's worried." "About what?" I ask. "Have you given any thought to what's going to happen after she graduates?" "Yeah, Mom, I have." "Is that what's bothering her?" "It would be odd if it weren't. Isn't it bothering you?" she questions. I try not to let it, but whatever happens, I'd never leave her. "Sometimes girls need a little extra reassurance," she offers as she pats my knee and smiles. I help my mom with her bag as I walk her out. "Candace," I call to her upstairs. "Coming," she responds, and as she's walking down, I see the sadness creep across her face. She doesn't say anything, going over to hug my mom. I feel bad as she starts to cry, knowing she wants to spend more time with her. I reach out and place my hand on her back when she pulls away from the hug, and my mom says, "Come see me, okay?" Candace nods her head, and I know that she hates the sound of her voice when she's this upset, so she stays quiet as I wrap my arms around her from behind. "When is your next break?" She has the last 2 weeks of this month off before her last quarter. I answer for her so she doesn't have to speak. "You and Ryan come visit, okay?" she offers as she looks at her. We say our goodbyes, and she leaves to drive back home. Turning Candace around, I hold her in my arms and give her a few minutes to just be sad. I'm grateful for the bond the two of them have forged, but I don't like seeing my girl upset like this. "You okay, babe?" "I hate that she lives so far away," she says as I wipe her face. "I really like having her around." "I know you do. We'll go visit her when you're on your break." She rests her head on my chest and sighs before saying, "My parents never even called me?" I grip the back of her head and hold her tight as she adds, "I mean, I knew they wouldn't, but it still hurts." "I know it does." And this is the shit I hate. Thinking about her mom and dad, wondering how they could turn away from their daughter so easily. I know it's possible because of my own dad, but thinking about everything Candace has gone through in the past several months cuts me deep and all I want to do is protect her from anything that could hurt her. Come on, let's go grab something to eat before we go to the campus. I tell her, and just hope to God that she got this solo, because I don't want to see how upset she'll be if she didn't. Seeing the look on her face was priceless. She was shocked and giddy and couldn't control her enthusiasm when she jumped into my arms, squealing. She got her solo, and I couldn't have been more proud. This girl works her ass off. But it got me thinking more about what my mom said. I'm not ignorant of the fact that Candace will probably get a job that requires her to move. I've been taking a lot of time away from the bar these past few weeks, and I need to start considering what her moving means for me and my business. When I walk into the bedroom, I notice that the door to the bathroom is cracked open. Slowly opening the door wider, I see her standing there in my boxers and a tank top, finishing up brushing her teeth. It's been a long day, and she's been through a string of emotions since this morning. I walk up behind her and slip my arms around her as I drop a few kisses along the curve of her bare shoulder. She holds onto my arms with her hands as we watch each other in the mirror. She turns around, and I lift her up onto the edge of the sink and look down at her. She has a peaceful look about her tonight. You're fucking gorgeous, I tell her, and my words make her laugh as I lower my mouth to hers. Sliding my tongue past her lips, she hooks her ankles behind my waist, burying her hands in my hair. Her touch excites me, but in a soothing way. I pick her up, walk her across the room, and fall into bed with her. I stare down, and I know that no matter what happens, she has me. I don't want to belong to anyone but her. She runs her hands up my chest and around to the back of my neck, pulling me down, and we kiss. We kiss in a way that's different than all the times before. I can't explain it, but it takes over me, holding a new level of passion. I press her firmly to me, tasting the mint that still lingers in her mouth. Lifting her back off the bed, I sit her up and watch her as she removes her top. I get caught up in her and press her back down onto the bed, situating my hips between her legs. She's so warm against me, and my chest begins to tighten with the effect this girl has on me. I never gave my heart to anyone before. I never wanted to. I was scared. But maybe I was just saving it for her. And now, I want to give this girl more than my heart. I want to give her everything. Realizing that I'm getting too carried away with myself, I pull back, nearly panting. We should stop, as I rest my forehead on her sternum. She runs her hands through my hair, whispering, "Don't." Her words are unexpected, so I pull up to look over her face, to try and read what she's thinking. "Babe," I breathe out, heavy. She looks me straight in the eyes and tells me, "I don't want you to stop. I need you to talk to me." I respond with nerves coursing through me, unsure of what to do here. "I don't want to stop tonight." Fear. That's what comes over me when I hear her words. Closing my eyes, I drop my head to hers. My heart is racing with urge. Please tell me this is okay, because the thought of this scares me. She nods her head against mine, but it isn't enough. "I need to hear you say it, babe." I finally open my eyes when she cups my face and assures me, "It's okay. I want this with you. I don't know if I can." But suddenly, I don't know if I can. I want to. I've wanted to since I met her. But now I'm afraid. And I don't know what to do with her. I'm not sure if she sees my panic when she takes my hand in hers and places it over her breast, urging quietly, "Just touch me." Her hand trembles against mine, and if this does happen, I can't have her feeling like this. So I do everything I can to push my anxiety away, to focus on making sure she's relaxed. She's been taken advantage of by 2 people before me, and I want to make this perfect for her. I lower myself and kiss her. I take my time and really kiss her, pressing my lips slowly into hers, grazing my tongue along her lip, and sealing my mouth with hers. My hand slides up from her breast and underneath the strap of her shoulder. As I move my hand down her arm, I take the strap with it, slipping it off, feeling the tension in the elastic releasing. She's never let me see her naked. The closest, a bra and my boxers. So when I begin to reach around, my anticipation is overwhelming. But then, in a moment, she nervously mutters, "I'm scared. I'm never—" "It's just you and me," I tell her. "You're all I ever want." She faintly nods, and when I unclasp the hooks behind her back, she crosses her arm over her chest. Laying my hand over hers, I lift it up and drop her bra to the floor. I look at her. I've always wanted to, but she's always been too shy. Then my eyes stop on a serrated, crescent scar on her left breast, and what I think it might be is confirmed when she shamefully bears, "He bit me." I won't let that piece of shit filter into this moment. She's embarrassed, and there's no fucking way I'm gonna let that bastard claim another piece of her. Even with this scar, he can't take away from how gorgeous she is. Leaning down, I kiss her scar and breathe into her skin. God, you're perfect. I take my kisses and drop them down her stomach, before sitting back on my heels to remind her that she isn't alone. I bring her hand to my ribs and over my scar. We don't speak. There's no need. She gets it when she brushes her thumb across the jagged line, and then pulls me down to her. Hands trussed in my hair. The feel of her naked body against my chest is gratifying beyond words. With no barriers, I run my tongue up the smooth skin of her breast and slowly across her pert nipple before taking her into my mouth. The pressure of her fingertips pressing into my shoulders strengthens when my hands find themselves at the band of her shorts. She lifts her hips when I begin to remove her boxers and panties at the same time. God, every inch of her is stunning, and I suddenly feel undeserving to have this girl who is far above what I could have ever imagined for myself. She watches as I slip off my pants and then lower myself back to her, grabbing the sheets and covering us up. I lie here naked with her and have never felt so connected. She's warm against me, but as I trail my hands slowly along her soft skin, I can feel her trembling. "Babe, you're shaking." "What if I can't do this?" she says with an uneven voice, worry etched in the lines of her face. Then we stop. Her eyes fall shut, and I assure her, "We'll move as slow as you need. You just tell me when to stop." "I don't want you to stop," she says, opening her eyes. She slides her arms around me and draws my body back to hers as she kisses me, caressing her lips with mine, taking her time as she runs her hands along my chest and down my abdomen, making my muscles clench at the touch. Her lips drag along my neck and down my shoulder, while I gently knead her supple breast in my hand, and kiss her exposed neck. When my mouth finds her hardened nipple again, I roll my tongue over it and begin to gently suck, her body writhing in response. Ryan? The sound of my name on her lips is sexy as hell, and I need her to tell me again before we move any further, so I ask, You sure? Yes. My anxiety is back. The rush of emotion swarms in my chest as I try to stay calm for her, but I just need to hear it. Tell me you want this, that you want me. I want you to make love to me, she says with her eyes pinned to mine. I take a moment to slip on protection before I reach down and slowly begin to guide myself inside of her. But as soon as I touch her, she locks up on me. Pulling myself back, I look down to see the rapid rise and fall of her chest. Are you okay? Holding onto my shoulder, she nods. Yeah. I've never been so scared to have sex, but I know with her, that's not what this is. I've never been with a woman like this before. I know I'm gonna make love with her, and I want to do everything possible to make this perfect. 'Cause for the first time in my life, this isn't about me. It's about her. So when I continue to push myself inside of her, I can feel every bit of how tense she is. It takes me a while, but when I'm finally inside of her, the feeling is almost too much for me. My head drops to her neck as I moan, Fuck, you feel so good, babe. Unable to keep it in. I hold myself still while her thighs tremble as she clenches them against my hips. I wrap my hands around her and give her time to relax. When I pull my head back, I immediately feel like shit when I see her eyes clamped shut with tears falling down her temples. Open your eyes, Candace. Look at me, I tell her, concerned about what she's seeing if she isn't seeing me. Don't make me look, she pleads, but I need her to. I need her to not be scared of this, to not let her mind drift to that alley, to show her that this can be something amazing. Baby, please open your eyes. I need you here with me. It's only me. It takes her a second, but she eventually opens them and focuses on me. When I feel her body soften against mine, I gradually begin to move. Being this close with her, inside of her, I never want this to end. I can't even imagine wanting to be selfish with her. So I move slowly, needing this closeness to last, to make her see this for what it is, love. Banding my arms around her, she clings to me, and the sounds of pleasure coming out of her are all I hear. Sighs, breaths, quiet moans. They turn me on even more as our bodies begin to work together, moving in a way I know I'll always want with her. God, I love you. I release on a ragged exhale and slide deeper inside of her. Moving to kiss me, she mumbles over my lips, I love you. I notice her hands are still clenching my shoulders, so I reach up and take one of her hands in mine, lacing my fingers with hers, pressing our hands into the mattress. She begins to sway her hips up to mine as she starts moving with me. Her body is so tight around me that it takes a lot for me to hang on and not let go. I watch her beneath me, her body against mine, completely exposed to me. And I don't think I could fall any more deeply in love with her. I'm not sure how that would even be possible. We take our time with each other, making love, lingering in the moment. When she closes her eyes, she constricts her legs to my hips, and I know she's close. I also know that she's never had this before. Relax, babe. I tell her because I want her to feel every piece of what I'm about to give her. She has her hand braced tightly around the back of my neck when her breathing falters. I kiss her, simply resting my lips on hers, as I continue to ease myself in and out of her, feeling every part of her around me. Her hand jerks in mine, and I lift my head to tell her, "Open your eyes. Stay with me," wanting to be sure that I'm all she sees. Locking her eyes with mine, her body is damp with a sheen of sweat, and I give in to the intensity that has been building inside of me when I hear her let out a whimper. It doesn't take me long to get to where she is, so when I say, "Baby, let go for me," her hips buckle, and she clamps her hands strongly around mine as I watch her lose herself, face flushed, panting out soft moans. I can't hold on when I feel her walls tighten and spasm around me. Dropping my head onto hers, I moan her name as I come hard, feeling the impassioned throbs with my release, giving myself in a way I didn't know was possible for me. We lie here, bodies pressed together, breathing labored, as we both come down. When I finally lift my heavy head to look at her, the tears are back. Afraid that this has had some negative effect on her, I ask in utter worry, "God, baby, what's wrong?" as I wipe her tears. She takes a slow moment before giving me words that almost break me. "Being with you, that's all I want." This is a lot. My emotions are all over the place, but they all lie within her heart. I keep myself inside of her, never wanting to leave, and when I lay my head against hers, I quietly confess, "You're the only one I've ever done that with. You're the only one I've ever made love to." I didn't think there was anything I could give her that would be new, untouched, and only hers, until now. She's the only one that will ever have me like this. And finally experiencing sex in this way, I'll never want it any other way. Chapter 32. Watching her sleep right now, hair draped over the pillow, face soft, lips slightly parted, she's beautiful. I could stare at her for hours when she's this peaceful, but I know she's going to wake soon, so I go ahead and slip quietly out of bed and head into the closet. I knew I wouldn't give her the necklace on her birthday. She probably would have resisted, so that's why I held off. But we're alone now, and it's not her birthday anymore. I take the necklace out of its box and go into the bathroom, shutting the door behind me. I set it in between the two sinks and then brush my teeth before I get back into bed. Wrapping myself around her, my movements start to wake her, so I feign sleep as she begins to stir awake. I lie there still, as she slides out from under my arm, and I can hear her close the bathroom door a few seconds later. I roll over and wait for her to come out. Listening to the water run, I wonder if the gift is going to irritate her when she made it perfectly clear she didn't want me to get her anything. The door opens, and Candace walks out with a sly grin, holding the necklace up in front of her. "What's this?" she questions, knowing very well what it is, but I play into her and say, "Well, it's definitely not a birthday gift, because that was 2 days ago." Her laughter is a relief when she hops up into bed and hands me the necklace to put on her. I love it. she says as I clasp it on, and she doesn't need to say anything else about it. She's read the scribed words. She's accepted it without hesitation. That's all I wanted. Crawling over her as she lies on her back, I drop kisses along the chain. Do you know how beautiful you are? She hums. You were amazing last night. I tell her when I start removing her clothes because I need her again. We were both so cautious last night, and now, seeing her naked and having her calm, I want to give this to her again, and she lets me. As we remain wrapped up in each other after making love, I stroke my hand through her hair lazily, enjoying her as our breathing slowly backs down. How are you feeling? She's in a tranquil state when she responds with a simple, happy. That one word makes me smile. That's all I ever want her to be, happy. I begin to laugh when I think about the other surprise I have for her. What's so funny? She asks with a grin of her own. I have something else for you. Besides the necklace? Besides the necklace, I say. She squints her eyes at me, and I defend. I promise you're gonna like this better. It's not a trinket. That smile of hers grows, and she sits up, clutching the sheet to keep herself covered. And her modesty is adorable. Leaning over, I open the drawer to my nightstand, and then hand it over. I don't know what to say, she says as she keeps her eyes on the hop-and bounce box, which holds the deflated ball. I have a pump out in the garage if you want to take it for a spin around the living room, I tease. Setting the box down on the bed, she crawls to me, sheet still clung around her, and gives me a kiss. You'll never know how much I love you. After spending most of the morning in bed with Candace, I decided to run into work so that I can take the night off. Candace called Jace and went to spend the afternoon with him and Mark. I told her I'd be back at the loft around 6 tonight, but that quickly changed when one of our vendors stopped by today with a shipment only to inform me that the bar is now on COD with them. When I started digging through the backlogged bills, I discovered that Michael has been missing payments. This is the second time this guy is fucked up, and I'm done. Walking into his office, the place is a disorganized disaster. Digging through files, I find the ones that I need, and I spend the next few hours scouring through all of our various vendors' invoices, checking them against the bank statements, and then having Mel double-check the inventory. I can't be having things fall through the cracks like this. I need to seriously start thinking about what's going to happen to this bar if I wind up moving after Candace is done with school. But leaving it in Michael's hands isn't going to happen. I need someone I can trust. Max, I call out while Mel and I are buried behind the bar as I help her check the last shipment. Yeah, boss. Get Michael on the phone. Tell him to get his ass up here, I shout over the band. I've been so busy, I didn't even realize how late it is, or that Mark is here with the guys, but they're already on stage playing. Ryan! Max shouts, and the chaos around me right now is giving me a headache. Did you get a hold of him? Yeah, he's on his way, but Candace is on the phone. Line 2, he says. Making my way through the crowd, I run upstairs to take the call in my office where it's quiet. Babe, hey. Hey, I didn't think you were going to be working this late, she says, and I feel bad that I'm still stuck up here when all I want is to be home. I explain everything to her, stressed about the whole situation, as she listens, and then let her know that I'll be heading home in a bit. Hanging up the phone, I start getting my things together, and about 5 minutes later, Michael walks into my office. Shit, that was fast, I say. I was on my way up here when Max called. What's up? You leaving? He asks as he stands there watching me. Yeah, but we need to talk. I say as I take a seat and he follows suit. I found out today that invoices haven't been getting paid. Never, in the 6 years I've owned this place, have we missed a payment, and now we're on COD with one of our vendors. Ryan, look, I say, interrupting him. I'm gonna cut to the chase. This bar is my livelihood, and when shit starts going wrong, then that livelihood is compromised. Feelings aside, I gotta let you go, man. I can't trust you to handle things up here when I'm not around, and that's a problem for me. Ryan, man, come on. Look, my ass is tired. Been up here all day trying to fix your mistakes, and I'm ready to go home, I tell him as I grab my coat and leave. My stress is through the roof, and I don't have time to dick around with this guy. I find Max when I get downstairs. Hey, I need to talk to you. What's going on? He questions as we step into the back storage room. I just fired Michael, so I want you to get up there and oversee him as he packs his shit up. Make sure we get his keys and everything. Hey, I got it covered. No worries. Thanks. I'm getting the hell out of here. I'll be back in the morning. There's a stack of papers on top of my filing cabinet. Make sure he signs them before he leaves. Got it. I don't waste any more time, knowing that Max will handle the Michael situation, and I head home to my girl. Candace and I camped out downstairs with some wine and an old movie when I got home last night. We hadn't done that in a while, so it was a perfect way to end the stressful day. I did manage to talk to her about trying to come to the bar again. I wasn't sure if I was pushing too much, but I figured this morning would be a good time since it would only be the two of us. She took me by surprise when she said she would try. I know this isn't easy for her, and while I'm in the kitchen fixing her a coffee to take with us, I watch her sitting on the couch, wringing her hands together. She's a nervous wreck. I walk over and hand her the coffee, telling her, Babe, you don't have to do this if it's causing you this much stress. I told you I would try, so I'll try. Holding my hand out, she takes it, and we head to the bar. The morning is cold and the sky is dark with cloud cover. Candace is silent, and I keep my hand on her knee as I pull up and park along the curb in front of the building like I promised her. When I open the door, she finally snaps out of her zoned-out state and holds my hand as I help her out. We walk inside, and I show her around before I take her back to the stairs. My office is up here, I tell her as I lead her up. I keep my hold on her hand when I walk into Michael's office to grab the papers I need. Taking a few steps into his office, she jerks around, stumbling over her feet and into me. Babe? I want to go, she says with her head down, and as I reach around her to quickly grab the file, I see what she saw and kick myself for not thinking beforehand that Michael's office overlooks the back lot. I tuck her under my arm as I quickly pull her out and walk her down the hall to my office, tossing the file on my desk and turning to hold her. I'm sorry, I didn't think, I say as she shakes under my arms, panicked. I back us up to the desk and lean against it as I pull her between my legs. She keeps her head on my chest, and I continue rubbing her back, trying to calm her down. She isn't speaking. I know she's trying hard to keep herself together, and all of a sudden, being here with her isn't something I want to be doing anymore. I hate that this was the first place I ever saw her. I hate the visions that are starting to play back through my head. I hold her, but all I can see is her covered in blood and dirt, lying naked on the ground. My heart rate picks up as the guilt returns. I could have done so many things differently that night, if I would have just gone out there sooner. I focus back on Candace when she lifts her head. Keeping my focus on her before I get too consumed, I ask, "You okay?" She nods, placing her head back on my chest, saying, "I hate seeing that dumpster." I hold her closer when she says this because I hate it too. I hate everything about that goddamn night. It's weird because I also love it in a messed up way. It's all I had to focus on. I'm so sorry. I think about what must have been going through her head, the sheer terror she must have felt, and my stomach begins to knot up. When I dream about that night, it's always taken away from me. There's nothing to distract me. I wish I knew his name. I would find him and destroy him if given the chance. I would kill him for everything he took away from her. She looks up at me and cups my clenched jaw, lifting onto her toes and planting a kiss on my lips. I pull her into me and take a deep breath, letting it out slowly. Being here with her, I'm starting to feel like I'm lying, and the guilt is eating at me the longer we are here. I never thought that deciding not to tell her about who I am would make me feel like it is right now. Deceitful. I'm trying to keep the memories out of my head, but I can't help the constant flashes I'm getting each time I close my eyes. I'm not sure I'll ever stop hearing her pleading screams from that night. It's a part of her that I'll always have to bear, but it'll never even come close to all that she's had to endure. I shift my thoughts because this is huge for her, and I need her to know that. I tell her how proud I am that she came up here with me, but I can tell she wants to leave, and honestly, so do I. Chapter 33. I call Max as I drive to see if he can meet me at the bar after my workout. I've been giving a lot of thought to getting things settled at work since I fired Michael a couple weeks ago. And the one person who knows that place inside and out, the one person I trust completely, is Max. It only makes sense to me that he would be someone that I could have complete confidence in, and knowing that he has a baby on the way, he'd be an idiot to not take the opportunity I'm about to offer him. After a couple hours of lifting and running, I head up to Blair to meet with Max. He's sitting at the bar chatting with Mel when I walk in. "Hey, man, let's go to my office," I say, and he follows me up the stairs. "So, what's on your mind?" he asks as we sit down. "I'm going to be honest with you here," I start. "Candace is graduating in a couple of months, and I doubt that she's going to be staying here in Seattle." "You think you'll go with her?" he asks. "I can't let her go without me, but I can't let this place fold either," I tell him. "I know you have a lot going on with Tracy, but look, you know I'll help out in any way I can." "I was hoping you could run this place," I say. "You know everything about the job, and you've always been loyal to me." "Shit's been crazy since I let Michael go, but I'd like to bring you on as his permanent replacement, which means a sizable salary increase." "Are you serious?" he says as he leans forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "Completely. It's yours." He stands up, and I follow as he walks towards me and claps his hand in mine for a solid shake as he grips my shoulder with his other hand. "So you're in?" I ask. "I'm in, boss." "Great." I sigh in relief as I sit back down. "You know the drill, man, so let's get this going in the next couple days if you can manage on short notice." "Yeah, no problem. You still going out of town this weekend?" "Yep. I'm not sure how long I'll be gone. A week, give or take a few days. It's Candace's last break before graduation, and I know she wants to spend time with my mom." "You need an extra guy for the door?" he asks. "I don't think so. Chase has been doing a good job at keeping everything under control in that department. Plus, people are used to seeing you down there, so I think if you can keep that gig going when you have extra time, that would be great." We finish up,